Our chat application will contain elements that need to be organized into a defined structure. For instance, for a chat room defined for a topic called good food, for instance, we need to define a unique room ID, and we also need to define an array called users, which stores the socket ID of a particular user who is connected to this chat room, along with his profile data such as user ID, the name, and his or her profile pic. We need this to be organized into a data structure and made available across our application so that we can query and or add data as and when needed. The place which we will use to store all this is a variable called chatrooms, which we will create using the app.locals namespace. The app.locals namespace allows us to define application level variables in Express, and these are directly made available to us using the app keyword from anywhere in the application and also from within the request stream. So what we need to do is treat app.locals.chatrooms as an array which stores this data structure. Here is a sample of how the contents of this array would look. Here you see an array with two JSON documents representing two chat rooms. The first one here has a key called room, which is the title or the topic of the room, good food in this case, which is followed up by a unique room ID, which we will generate dynamically using Node's built-in crypto module. At the end, we have an array called users, which will be used to store socket IDs of all users connected to a chat room along with their profile data. You can see the second chat room here called cars, which has one user in the chat room. This one user is defined by a socket ID, the user's name, and his or her profile pic URI as returned by Facebook or Twitter. This structure makes it easy for us to render a list of active users in a particular chat room. So let's set this up. We'll go into our app's index.js file, and in our IO server instance, we'll declare app.locals.chatrooms as our store, and we'll set it to an instance of an array. An important note to keep in mind here is that we are storing all this data in memory, and it will not scale beyond a point. This is where I have an open task for you. Check out the last video in this section for pointers on implementing a data store for this purpose. But first, let's continue building this app, and I recommend finishing up this example before attempting the aforementioned task. Since this variable is needed in the socket module, we'll create a local variable called allRooms into which we'll bring in the contents of app.locals.chatrooms like so. However, you can see that our app crashes out at this point. And the reason it gives is app is not defined. And that is true. We are accessing the Express app namespace, but we've not brought this dependency into our anonymous function here. So go back to the IO server method and inject the app keyword like so, which we'll receive in the scope of our socket module like so. Following this, our app comes back online and there are no further errors to be seen. So all's well. Let's move forward.